Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Friday, September 12th, a little after 6:15 at night, and this is our daily recap video for our YieldMax Ultra Income Funds. First one's Ulti, the Ultra Option Income Strategy Fund, and then we have SLTY, the Ultra Short Option Income Strategy Fund. As always, I'm on X at ETF_Inspector1, letting you know when videos are premiering if you like to catch the live chat, and posting all things related to the channel and to the ETFs that I cover. I should mention that we are going to be doing another show on Sunday morning with Ambassador of Quan and Parabolic Nurse hosting, as well as myself, Max Convexity, and ETF Delta, all speaking on Ulti. We've done it a couple times now. We had to skip last week because we couldn't make it. I don't know why I'm scrolling. I can't seem to find it. He's got a lot of posts on it, but I think that's it right there. All right, so it's Sunday morning, not Saturday, at 7:30 Eastern time. So for those people on the West Coast, I don't know if you're getting up early or if you just want to catch the replay. But I thought there was something else I wanted to mention while I was on here as well, but that's okay. All right, so let's take a look at how markets moved today. All right, Ulti up big, nice, up over 1% on the day. We love it. Gave back a penny after hours, no big deal. None of that's official. We've got a mixture of red and green, but the greens are up a whole lot more than the reds are down. We'll talk about the real big movers when we go through the spreadsheet, kind of highlighting them. But and then also when we get down to SLTY, if things are going up, then it's not good for the short fund. So the short fund was down over 1%. It's kind of odd for them to be almost mirrored each other because they are not playing the same underlyings. So there's no real correlation between the two. But SLTY was down a little over 1% because things they're holding are up. Obviously, everything that they're holding can't fit down here if it's already further up in the chart. All right, so usually the Friday takes a little longer, as was the case for today. Didn't come out till almost 6 o'clock, maybe 5:50, but we had tons of trades. This is what a Friday chart looks like as far as the download. It's just loaded with trades because everything's got to get closed and rolled to the next week if it hasn't already. And then even the ones that have been rolled, if they went up too much, they're going to close and roll them as well. So Ulti just by itself starts at line 407 and goes all the way to 514, so 107 trades. And then SLTY starts at 516, not as bad, 562, 46 trades. All right, we'll start with Ulti, the Ulti underdogs, everybody's favorite. They're starting to get back in favor again, and let's see how they made out. For starters, if you saw on the thumbnail, we added RKT, that's Rocket Companies. We bought, what is that? Is that 1 million shares? It is. 1 million shares of them. It's only $21 million, though. Kind of nothing compared to our usual holdings within things. And then we sold some Webull, but not all of it. So we're still in Webull, just selling a portion of it, trimming our position. Okay, on Friday, the video is a little different than the rest of the days of the week. We don't do the orange for under construction and then showing which positions got closed and rolled, so we don't have to talk about it because we're not going to talk about percentages in or out of the money on a Friday video. We're heading into the weekend. We just want to know how our investment performed today, and on Sunday we'll start looking at next week. Okay, so starting off, the close and roll for AppLovin cost us $2.5 million. That's going to be, anytime it's cost us, it's going to be because the underlying went up beyond our sold strike price. So while it hurts to pay to close it out, it means that the value of the shares that we're holding went up. 3 million there, 3.1 million there compared to 2.5 million debit. Okay, Webull, there's just a lot of extra trades because as they were selling portions of or groupings of shares, they're going to also close out the equivalent grouping of options to go with them. So that's why this looks like a whole lot more than it needs to be, but we do still have some, and we did roll to next week, and that brought in a credit of $1.1 million. Coinbase closing and rolling to next week, increasing our strike, still able to bring in a profit, $595,000 credit, I should call it, not a profit. Profit would technically be what you paid to close it out, taken out of what you collected to selling it to open it, and if that's positive, that'd be profit. CoreWeave, all we did was adjusted our strikes for next week, bringing them down closer to the money. That brought in $1.4 million. First Solar brought in $1 million credit on the close and roll to next week. What'd they do? Closing 207.50s, 180, and this was the one, First Solar, we had a iron condor, so we're buying to close calls and buying to close puts. Looks like it landed in the sweet spot in between, so bringing in that $1 million credit, and next week doing the same thing, selling a call and selling a put, buying calls and puts as well. Robinhood brought in $819,000 credit on the close and roll to next week while still raising the strike by $2. IonQ went up a lot, and that is going to cost us a ton. $27 million cost or debit to close and roll to next week. We were closing 46s and 48s, and we're selling 55s and 60s. So paying $7 and $8 to close out and only collecting $1 and $2 on the sale. The good thing is we're raising our puts up to beyond where we were selling calls for this past week. So we're locking in that higher price on our shares that we own. Strategy or MicroStrategy had a credit of $584,000. Closing out these 330s and 335s, selling 340s. So anytime you're able to roll up and still have a credit, that works out great. Kind of locking in profits. Same thing as far as raising up where our puts begin to protect us. Palantir had a credit of $1.1 million on the close and roll to next week. Again, increasing on some of them from 165 to 170. Others keeping it the same, closing 170s. So that's a nice apples to apples. We paid 9 cents to close these out and collected $2.33 to open them. That, of course, is multiplied by the amount of contracts, 7,233, and then multiplied by the 100 shares per contract. Rigetti, so just like IonQ, cost us $27 million to close and roll. So closing 16s and 17s and selling 20s and $20.50. Again, our puts going into next week are locking in a higher price than what we were even selling calls on previously. Rocket Lab cost $4.3 million on the close and roll to next week. Had to increase the strike by, $5.50, over 10%. Rocket, this is the new one we just talked about. We bought 1 million shares so we can sell 10,000 contracts of our collar strategy. That's where we sell the calls above our strike or above the share price and buy puts below it. $210,000 collected. We didn't put a whole lot of money into them. Would we say 21 million? Yeah, the average underlying has over 100 million in it, so we only bought a very small amount here. SMR, New Scale Power, $1 million credit on the close and roll to next week. We dropped the strike by 50 cents, so just about the same thing with the puts, dropped them by 50 cents. Unity Software had a credit of just about 1.9 million, closing and rolling to next week. Looks like all of them were for a profit, but a little bit got chewed into on that 43, but they had 43s, 44s, and 45s to close out and selling 44 50s and 45s for next week. And then finally, Upstart, $1.1 million credit on the close and roll. We did drop the strike from 65 down to 64. So all in all, we had a debit of $50 million on the trading day. We were definitely in the negative as far as realized gains or losses on the trading week, but we had a heck of a week as far as increase in values. We'll dig deeper into that on our Sunday week look ahead. Gotta leave you wanting some sort of information. All right, when we switch over to our holdings, we're not worried. Basically, everything that has an expiration date on the 12th just got closed and rolled, so we don't need to worry about it anymore. We're not concerned. We're not going to talk about how far out of the money things expiring next Friday are. That'll all come through in the week look ahead video on Sunday, along with guesstimates. So Affirm was up over 2%. AppLovin up 1.8%. Webull down 1.8%. Coinbase down about 0.25%. Credo Technology up 1.6%. We're just going to highlight, the big ones. CoreWeave down 0.65%. We've got $606 million in government obligation funds, negative 71. So we got about $530-ish million sitting on the sidelines, ready to get put to work. First Solar down about 0.8%. Not really big moves. Galaxy, I believe they were up. We don't really track it because we don't own shares that we're concerned with going up or down or changing in value. We just have sold puts. Yeah, Galaxy was up 2.8%. Robinhood was down 2.3%. That's a $4 million decrease in value. Here's a big one. IonQ, the big winner today, up 18+%. That increased our value by $34 million. So if you remember, we did have to pay $27 million to close and roll, but our value of our fund increased by $34 million. So the net, it's a win to the $7 million to our favor, and that is because these were so close to the money. Had there been a lot more room to run, then that difference would have been much greater. But because IonQ's calls were already kind of right at the money, we were not able to capture as much as we could have. Lululemon dropped today. That's why those puts went in the money. Down 3.5%. So they had a rough day for sure. It's a shame they're not in SLTY anymore, and then they drop. Strategy up 1.6%, almost $1.6 million value increase. Oklo up 3.3%, but that's worth a $6 million increase. Palantir up 4.3%. That helps out for another $8.6 million. Reddit was the big loser, down 2.5%, but that only dropped our value by $1.9 million. Rigetti, another big increase, 14+%, and resulted in, we'll call it $24 million value increase. Again, this could have been a whole lot better had these strikes not been already in the money. Rocket Lab up over 10%. Again, they were already in the money. So everything that jumped huge for us had calls already in the money, so that was capping them and preventing us from being able to capture more of a difference of increase in value over realized losses on the trades. NewScale Power up 3.25%, $5.7 million. Tesla was up. I think they were up pretty big. Yeah, 7.3%. So they're approaching that 400 number again. Unity Software up 0.3%, and Upstart up 1.4%. So all those major moves resulted in a $98 million increase in value. Assets under management, this is not taking into account what happened today, is $3 billion. There were people buying back into the fund again yesterday. I think that's a couple days in a row. 550,000 new shares purchased. bringing them up over 551 million. And we closed at 557. Is that right? I don't think it is. Sometimes Excel takes a while to update. No, it was right. 557. Next, we're going to go to SLTY, and I think I might have forgot to write down the price. 44.97. Excel doesn't recognize that stock ticker yet, so we've got to do it manually, and I just forgot. Okay, SLTY. You saw we, again on the thumbnail, we closed out of Adobe and Bitmine Immersion, and we added Nebius Group. Okay, so Adobe closing out, closing. So the way this fund works, it's the opposite. Since it's a short fund, it sells shares to begin with, and then it buys them back to close them, trying to make a profit, anticipating the stock to drop. So then we bought to close those. So then we have to close out our reverse collar strategy. That cost $130, no big deal on Adobe. Bitmine Immersion closing out, same thing. Since we got out of that stock, we closed out our options, and that resulted in a $49,000 gain. That's because they have not protective puts. Those would protect if you actually own the shares. Since we are short selling the shares, then going up would hurt us, so we have protective calls, and so those protective calls came in handy. BitDeer Immersion was a $46,000 credit on the close and roll to next week, and it's actually closing what was already next week and just adjusting it to different strike prices. Enphase Energy close and roll to next week, $6,700 credit. Lemonade, and even $9,000 credit on the close and roll to next week. Marathon Holdings, $10,000 credit on the close and roll to next week. Nebius Group, right? We just started shorting their shares, so we're going to buy some calls to protect that and sell puts to generate income. That brought in $6,400. RH had an $8,200 credit on their close and roll to next week, and Symbiotics had a just about $7,000 credit on their close and roll to next week. So all in all, that was a $142,000 credit on the trading day, and again, that's going to be that'll be a nice credit on the trading week. So I'm looking forward to totaling everything up and doing some math and seeing if they earned enough income to make that payout. That's going to come with a decrease in value of $297,000. When we go through the holdings, so for starters, you've got most of the actual money sitting in treasuries, right? Basically, a little over $9 million sitting in treasuries. That's because you don't actually buy these shares and have the money sitting in the shares. We start out by selling the shares, which actually brings in more money. So you got to park that money somewhere. You can't go spend it somewhere else and possibly get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. So they put it in treasuries to earn a small percentage while we wait. So we're kind of double dipping on the money. You invest, you hand them your money, they use it to then short sell shares, which brings in money, and then they put the money in treasuries to earn interest. Then we're also selling options to try and generate income. So lots of ways to make money here. Adobe, I forgot to cross it out. We're out of them. I don't know why that didn't work. Same thing with Bitmine Immersion. Okay, but Adobe was down 1/3%. That helps when stocks go down. That increases the value. Astera Labs down 1.5%, increasing the value by $13,000. Applied Digital was up big though, 8.7. That hurt for $78,000 value loss. Bloom Energy down just barely 0.1% or 7 cents. Not even worth talking about. Bitmine Immersion up big, the big winner, 15.25%. That hurt a lot, $131,000 on the value. Another $140,000 value drop off of BitDeer Technology going up about 14.5%. Circle Internet Group was the big loser today, down 6.25%. That's going to increase our value by $52,000. Enphase Energy up 0.8%. Government obligation funds, they got 1.3 million. They got another 14.6 million in cash. GitLab up 1.13%. Lemonade down 4.29%. Mara up 3.82%. MP Materials up 0.89%. RH down 4.59%. That's going to increase our value by $40,000. Symbotic down 2.37%, and Tempest AI down 2.7%. So all in all, that resulted in a $297,000 decrease in value to the overall fund. Assets under management before the day started, $12.5 million. So that's going to go down unless people bought into the fund. So yesterday nobody did. It's still 275,000 outstanding shares. Most recent distribution, we just got 55.2 cents today. I shouldn't say I do not have SLTY. I have plenty of Ulti. I do not have SLTY yet. And so far, I'm glad I did not, because we are only about to be. We just got they just paid their second distribution starting at 50, and they're already down $5+. So far, if the market is moving up, SLTY's going to struggle. All right, that's all I have for you. So let you go for have a nice weekend. All right, stop worrying about this stuff for a little while, and we'll dig real deep on Sunday. I'm probably going to premiere my video right after the live Spaces show, so you'll hear us kind of talking about things, and then you'll get to see the video where I talk about trading ranges and everything like that. So thank you, everyone, for watching. I got a dad joke for you. Why haven't aliens visited our solar system yet? Because they read the reviews. Only 1 star. I don't know if you guys can hear my wife laughing in the other room. I think only I get to hear her laughing.
It was funny.
It never comes through on the video. All right, have a good night, and catch you in the next video.